Stupid Garbage Podcast.
Oh, I like that.
Back at it again. Jess and Rob, Rob and Jess, take 3.
We've literally recorded this podcast. This is our 3rd time. We recorded 20 minutes and then 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And both got deleted. And my phone did not tell me they were going to delete it. So I'm so upset. We had the cutest little intro. We were really funny.
Wow.
Really witty. Just the best we've been.
No one's going to believe any of that. Have you ever heard the story of the boy who cried wolf?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jessica. First of all, nothing that I said or did was funny. Second of all, you're ruining my radio show.
You bring up the boy who called wolf.
Cried wolf! Have you heard the story? Because you keep saying you have, and I'm not quite sure that that's true.
You... Stop it.
Let's do it.
Stop.
You're gross.
You bring up the boy who cried wolf, like, I don't know, once every 5 episodes to use against me, so that's why I started laughing. Anyway, so...
Have you heard the story of the boy who cried wolf?
No.
You've got 30 seconds to convince me that you know the story.
I didn't like the story, to be honest.
It's not meant to be liked. It's meant to teach you an important lesson, a moral, if you will.
I thought
it's a parable.
That it was stupid, and I thought, I'm not going to listen to this, and I immediately disregarded it.
Okay, you have 30 seconds. You had 30 seconds. You now have 8 seconds to convince me you know the story of the
There's
boy
a
who cried
little
wolf.
child, and he is lazy and doesn't want to do work. And so he's like, oh, you guys, I saw a wolf. I couldn't do my work or some shit. And then everyone's like, oh, okay. And then he keeps, or like to get attention. I don't know what he wanted. And then this little
Just
boy
for fun.
wanted something from the people. And then basically, finally, there was actually a wolf. He cried that there was a wolf. And then everyone's like, you fucking idiot. We don't believe you anymore. You've taken all of our goodwill and used it up.
Right, so when you
And then he dies.
When you lie, people don't believe you. And then when you tell the truth, it's too late.
I literally never lie. It is not my...
You opened this
my
podcast with a series of lies.
Anyway, what did we talk about on the last... So basically we watched the movie...
Well, no, you're jumping the gun a little bit. We talked about the fact that...
I was going to circle back because you know that my brain doesn't work chronologically.
Okay, we talked about the fact... Why don't you take a non-chronological nap, and then 20 minutes into the past, I'll call you.
Okay.
And then we'll bring you back to close out the opening of the show.
Good.
So we talked about the fact that, kind of briefly, that first time I met your parents, Jess and I, you and me, went to school in Massachusetts, came down to the New York area where you're from to meet your parents, and they, after I had been there for, I don't know, a couple hours or 5 minutes, whatever, your mother said, oh, I won in some raffle that Jessica orchestrated. I won some hotel room at the Crown Plaza. You get a night stay for free.
I'm gonna
Please take my daughter and go hump her brains
to
out.
the sex room. Yeah. First of all...
In this hotel room.
I organized a fundraiser for Crohn's disease with someone, well, I didn't. I organized it for an organization, and basically my mom wanted to support the organization, so she told a bunch of her friends to come and buy raffle tickets, and they did, and it was at like a restaurant, and all the patrons were like, hey, we don't fucking want to buy your fucking raffle tickets, so...
1:55 a.m., dear reader.
So basically I don't know how many tickets were bought, but I did genuinely randomly pull this woman's name out, and it was one of my mom's closest friends who was like, we have a home, we don't need this. And then my mom was like, I also have a home, I don't need this. So then I said, I don't have a home, because we were at college at the time, so I was living in my parents' house, obviously. And
let me go lick my boyfriend's balls. And she said, okay.
Well, again, I remember her saying no.
Okay,
like,
well, she didn't,
I
because
remember
we did
her
do it.
giving me the room, and then I was like, oh, I'll use it with Rob tonight. And she goes, ew, gross, don't. Like, I'm pretty sure she was upset with me, and she was just like, that was gross, I can't believe that you did that. But I don't know if she was, like, too uncomfortable to, like, say that in front of you, or...
This sounds revisionist. This is revisionist. I'm going to say, having been there the entire time all of this went down,
yeah,
this is propaganda. The purpose of which I'm not quite sure, but it's bullshit. So
That was a fun...
That's... Yeah, good.
That was very...
No, you go... No, you go ahead. It's just my radio show.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, please.
I was going to say, it's a very interesting... Like, that part, like, how we got to the hotel that night was a very interesting story. And then there were so many levels to this. Like, first of all, we went to go see a movie, and... was the movie first, or the movie was last, right?
The movie was last.
Do you want to go in order?
No, we don't do things chronologically.
So basically, I'll
Tarantino this shit.
So basically, Robert and I, I don't want to repeat the crude language you used, mostly because I don't remember it already. I think you used the word humped, but that's all I got. So...
No, I'm quoting your mother.
What did you say? The last episode that got deleted, you said that you porked...
I would never say something
me,
like
and then you were like, yeah, you're right, I just fucked just pork or something.
First of all, I wouldn't say I porked you, and if I did, I would say it in a much more clever manner than that.
Well, you were like, okay, I just
fucked your pork.
Pork or something, I don't know. Anyway, it was really funny. Basically, the lizard came out, and I got really distracted, and then I wanted to touch him because
Jessica,
he fucking bit me.
what the fuck is happening?
Okay, so anyway...
When you said you weren't telling this story chronologically, I didn't realize you meant it would have a 5-year span.
Yeah, it goes really deep. So
I'm gonna lean back.
Anyway, so basically we were it was one of the first times that Robert and I had been together physically. Yes.
Nope.
No, but like alone. Like without having a roommate or like
we had before that we had done a lot of group sex, that's true.
No, but like it always kind of had to be somewhere like secretive or like quick or something. So it was nice to like not have to worry about that.
That is not by design. I assure you. No, that's not. We both had rooms that were dorm rooms that were scarcely populated. They were seldom.
We had a teeny tiny twin bed, and there were people next to us on both sides.
No.
I felt my mobility and my
Jessica is very, very much overstating her gymnastic abilities.
That's absolutely true.
Or concerns.
I have
it's not,
physical prowess.
Not only is it irrelevant, it's just not true.
Yeah.
That we had only had sex once before this.
I didn't say once.
You said it was one of the first times.
It was one of the first times that we'd ever been alone without having to like. Every single time it was at my parents' house, it was like when they were gone or when everyone was asleep or whatever. Like it was one of the first times that we'd ever not had to like.
All right. Okay.
Keep it quiet. Thank you. Like in college, we would sneak around and shit. Like on top of buildings and shit. Like we can't be loud. Or anything. Anyway, this is getting weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you made it weird, dude.
I'm sorry, you're right.
The fuck are you doing?
Basically getting even more weird.
God damn.
To be fair, I didn't want to tell the story initially, and then
We've told it 3 times.
I know.
You've prompted me to tell it twice now.
I have not prompted you.
Oh my god.
Maybe. Anyway, so basically, we were hanging out, and then the contraception may have just imploded.
It didn't implode. It did not. It
just
went implode
out of nowhere. It just dissolved.
It snapped like a rubber band.
Yeah.
And to quote Jessica's mother, I gave Jess the goo. Jessica was a goo gobbler. So we went
Gobble implies that it was in my mouth.
Well,
which with the second part of the story,
I'm very gymnastic. So yeah, we went to. Go ahead.
No, you tell this. I like you telling this part.
Yeah. So we went to Walmart and we're in line, and some of the people.
Because the only place that was open at like 1 a.m., which is when this was happening. Yeah, this was
pretty late, and midnight 30 or so. Yeah. Oh. Late. And so we went, and there were 2 people in line or something, I don't even remember, in front of us who were fighting, bickering, as the people of Walmart are wont to do. And the cashier was a large woman who kept over and over and over again saying, "In Jesus' name, walk with him. This is not it. That's the devil trying to talk through you.
That was weird.
Don't let him win." Over and over again, trying to diffuse this fight, not doing a very good job at it. And then we came up and just had the only item we had. We might have had a pack of gum and Plan B, and she just went, and then we left. And then we, after that, went to the movie theater at 1 a.m. and watched Into the Woods, which was
Rob
terrible.
fell asleep.
It's a bad movie. It was a musical. It was 1 a.m.
It was fine.
Jessica, I had just blown your back out and then had to go running around to find this fail-safe contraceptive device, medicine, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, Plan B is horrendous. It's not good. Like, you think, like, oh, it's just a little pill. Yeah, it gives you period cramps, which, I mean, granted, it's nothing that I don't experience once a month anyway, but it's different because it's, like, not natural, so it's my body is, like, confused, and it's like, oh, must get rid of this now, and it's not comfortable, and anyway. So that was a fun night, crazy night. That was such a good memory, and it was one of our first memories. I feel like it was so, like, it wasn't very long into our relationship that this happened, so it was just, like, a pretty epic story to have. And then, yeah, I was saying, too, like, the continental breakfast that,
I don't know what it is about you people, but something about a muffin on a tray next to a banana just blows your fucking mind.
It does. Because I would never buy a muffin, but if you had a muffin, I would eat it.
Okay, that's a crazy statement to make. I don't think I have to respond to that, right? That doesn't warrant.
Anyway, so we had a continental breakfast
conversation,
and then the entire time, like, Rob is very chill sometimes, and, like, even now we'll go out to dinner and he just, like, won't have anything to say, so he won't talk. So it's like, it's fine. He just likes to.
I hate you.
Well, so that's what I thought. I was like, this dude, we just had a weird fucking night, and it's not that far into our relationship, and this dude is not speaking to me. Like, what happened? And I was, like, losing my mind, and I was like, hey, Rob, like, what's wrong? And you're like, nothing. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't... It was, like, the most uncomfortable I've been in a long time. I was just like, what? Because I didn't know you well enough to confront you or be like, hey, can you fucking talk because you're stressing me out? And I wanted to, like, look cool and carefree in front of you.
God damn, did that backfire. You're telling this story 5 years later.
Yeah.
Jessica, you need to...
Well, now
you need to do a lot of things. You need to chill. You need to chill the F out.
Oh.
Please don't spit on my face would be request number 2. Chill out. Don't spit on my face. Have fun. Those are the only rules.
Have fun. See you later. So yeah, and then you read my checklist.
Yeah, you had a to-do list that was Tuesday, no. Wednesday, no. Thursday, no. Friday, bathe the baby. Bathe the baby. In spite of the fact that we do not have a baby, we have a
baby.
No, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. We barely have a relationship. You have a lizard. He lives in my apartment. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Whatever. We're not on speaking terms, so I don't want to talk about him.
Fine,
right
so moving on.
But
we watched Inside Man.
Yeah.
I was waiting a long time to see someone go inside a man. There was no penetration.
Like Osmosis Jones.
Why you link yourself to life and times of whatever. So
you don't even have the energy.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
How did that not shape who you are as a person after
anyone who references Osmosis Jones more than once every 5 years is a goddamn lunatic. You've done it twice this week.
All right.
So we watched Inside Man, which was
a Spike Lee joint.
A Spike Lee, yeah, you're right.
It's the only thing that I
beat me
liked
to the
about
punch.
that movie.
The fact that it was called a Spike Lee joint.
Spike Lee is trash.
Yeah, Jessica hates Spike Lee.
Yes, and I feel like this movie confirms that I'm right.
Yeah, Jessica's not a big Spike Lee fan. I'm probably good. Ice water. Yeah.
You love that.
On the radio.
You didn't have to make a stink about it. You could...
I didn't make a stink about it. You handed it to me, passing it over the microphone, going like this.
ASMR. Did you know that apparently whispering? So
we watched Inside Man, which was Denzel Washington, Clive Owen, Willem Dafoe, etc. And so, a couple things about it. One, it wasn't good.
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster. Two, don't hit me. Two, it was really not good. Three, it was I had already seen, it's 2 hours and 9 minutes, which is way too long. And in the last podcast we did that didn't get recorded, the Lost episode,
My heart.
I likened it to the movie Phone Booth, which was, I think, 2002, Colin Farrell, whatever, one of them.
No, it was, I thought it was Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker was the police officer, the guy stuck in the phone booth.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same thing wherein it's, your complaint about this movie was that okay, whatever, do whatever you want. Your complaint about this movie was do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. Yeah, just like that.
Did I spit on you?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry.
I have 3 rules.
I'm sorry. It's never intentional. Like, the way that it probably sounds on the podcast is that I just get angry at you and spit, but that's not what I do. Hey. Don't look at me like that. We're friends.
We're enemies right now.
Like me and Peaches.
Like you, yeah. We have, what's the opposite of a love triangle? Like a contempt rhombus? So anyway,
Sure.
I likened it to the movie Phone Booth because you said that this movie was just a lot of things, stakes get raised, and then, I'm going to do this, and then he says no. And then I'm going to do this, and he says no.
Yeah.
And then I wonder who's going to, will they, won't they, will they, won't they, will they. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
And every single time I'm supposed to care about the stakes, but nothing's really changed,
I feel like their relationship...
He calls so the movie's about bank robbers, and 4, 5, 6 of them, whatever. A small team of bank robbers take hostages, lock down the bank, and Denzel Washington is sent in to be a negotiator. And so he calls the hostage taker, the bank robber, and they have this brief little back and forth, and then nothing really happens, and then it happens again and again and again, and so it's just the same thing keeps happening, and the stakes are supposed to go higher and higher, and they just don't. And the problem with that is it's just this bottle movie where no one gets to leave and nothing happens, and all the action's very contained, but that's not really all that interesting because you know the stakes and you know the settings and
I have to say, to this movie's credit, the second that I realized that the entire movie was going to be about one specific bank robbery, I was immediately disappointed. So I wouldn't say that, like, the movie itself was bad, just... Well, I think the genre itself is bad.
Yes, well, Spike Lee threw his hat into the ring of bank robbery heist movies about 40 years too late. And, like every bank robbery heist movie, this one, first of all, they're all the same. They're all exactly the same. And just watch the original Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra, and then you'll say, oh, that movie wasn't very good. And you'll go, yeah, it wasn't. It's not a very good genre movie. That's all you need to see.
This is one of the worst.
It's not great.
Ones.
It's not good. And also, so the problem is that every single one of these movies, there's always, it's not just someone going in and robbing a bank, obviously. There's always a twist, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is how they do it differently. This is how, this one, they're not actually robbing the bank. They're robbing the convenience store next to the bank. Or There's always some stupid, he's actually he works for the bank the whole time. The people who were in on it were, it's always the same bullshit. And so this movie was no different, and the problem with this movie is that it kept just trying to twist and turn, and it just, I don't care about any of it because none of it's interesting. And as I said, to compare it to Phone Booth, which also wasn't that great a movie, honestly, but Phone Booth was very he's in a phone booth the entire movie. It's very contained.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
It's not great, but it's an hour and 21 minutes.
Yes.
This movie would have very, very, very... I don't think it would have been a good movie, but it really would have benefited from being half an hour shorter. It does not need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
If they had focused more on Clive Owen and Denzel Washington and that relationship, because I felt like Denzel was supposed to be this, like, big bad detective, and Clive Owen is supposed to be this genius mastermind villain, and I felt like they were a good match. Like, I did feel like they were equals, which was nice, but then, like, if they had focused a lot more on that relationship instead of just having them be like...
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that muddied up the works.
Was my
go ahead. Finishing? No, it wasn't. So there was a lot of stuff that muddied... Yeah, you just got slammed. A lot of stuff that muddied up the works. Jodie Foster's character...
Oh my god.
First of all, came into the movie pretty late.
She was...
And... Yeah, go ahead.
So irrelevant. And so...
I mean, no need to be homophobic, but... So she came into the movie pretty late... And then, she was supposed to be one of these sort of hands in every cookie jar. I never lose because I play both sides of the game sort of characters.
Yeah.
But that, first of all, because we didn't see so much of her, or really, it's understandable if you have those characters who are working behind the scenes and no one else knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
But if the audience also doesn't know what they're doing, it's just,
you
don't really care about them. Yeah, they just come in and go, I can do anything, anytime, and every single person of power in this city owes me 3 favors. And then they just disappear. You go, okay, well, what? How? Why? What are you doing with that? I don't, you just saying that doesn't do anything for me. You have to show me and make it interesting and do interesting things with that. And she didn't. And not only did she not really do anything interesting, this whole bank robbery thing she kind of dropped into, was kind of pushed into, and then talked to the hostage negotiators and then talked to the bank robbers and didn't influence anything one way or the other.
And I was going to say,
she didn't stop the bank robbery. She didn't get the police to storm the place. She didn't get the guys to give up. Nothing. She might as well have not been in the movie.
Yes, that's what I was saying. She was irrelevant.
Yeah.
And additionally, like, her big scene, I felt like what you said, when she was talking to the bank robbers, nothing happened, and like he was basically just kind of like playing with her, but not even in a fun way that was entertaining to watch.
No, it was just weird.
And then she came back from it and was like, all right, now I have like, I didn't get what we wanted, but instead here's this against you. And it was like, what is happening?
Yeah, she just came out and talked to Denzel Washington. She went, he said, did you get them to do whatever, pick up the phone? And she went, no, but they're considering it. What?
Yeah, it was weird.
The fuck? How you? What? And then she
like,
said, yeah, I don't make enemies, I make friends. That's how I get ahead. And she threatened to derail Denzel Washington's career.
And he was like, dude, I literally just want to catch this guy. Like, I don't give a shit what you're doing.
Not only that, but she did a few things like that where she threatened to, if Denzel Washington didn't stay out of her way, she threatened to ruin his career. She threatened to, she threatened the guy who owned the bank. And then none of that, she didn't do anything with any of that. She never really actually came through with any of her threats. And she didn't need to do any of it.
I didn't understand even, like...
She didn't need to... It's not like she said, oh, Denzel, I'm going to ruin your career unless you give me this information so I can then go get the diamond that's being hidden. And then she just said, hey, Denzel, get out of my way or I'm going to ruin your career. And then he said, okay, I guess. And then she didn't, with that clear path, laying straight to the basket, she didn't do anything. She just stood there.
How did it even end?
She went, okay, I'm unbothered.
In terms of her...
Nothing.
Like, she didn't get anything out of this, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Someone called in a favor and then, so to get her involved, and then she called in a favor to get this other person out of her way and involved, and then she used that to talk to the guy who owned the bank, who called her in kind of indirectly in the first place, and kind of had some leverage on him that she used to sell an apartment that she didn't even, I don't even think needed leverage to sell. She said, oh yeah, I put your name down as a ref. It was so stupid. The entire Jodie Foster, I guess subplot, not even a plot, was that she did all this. She almost got shot and walked into a bank full of people with guns and talked to the mayor and a police negotiator and a guy who owned
her whole thing with the mayor,
$1 billion bank.
Didn't make sense either.
None of it made sense. She did all of that so that she could she could get some guy to co-sign on an apartment.
And it's funny because
seriously, that was it.
They literally had a scene. So there was like a whole thing where they had I know this is making me so nervous of whether it's going to record or not. I don't want to record it for a 4th time.
Well,
yeah,
we'll do our best.
So there was a whole scene where one of the police officers was saying like, oh, here is a pen. When you click it, it's a recording device and you'll get 30 minutes worth of recordings. And they used that for the bank robbers, blah, blah, blah. It, like, had relevance in the plot. And then, towards the end, Jodie Foster's character meets with the mayor, and you see, like, someone, I forget who it even is, but someone comes in and gives her, I think it was Denzel. He comes in and he gives her a piece of paper and a pen. He leaves it on the table, and then she specifically makes a point of looking at it and then clicking. And then she's like, did you even make copies of this? And then he walks away. And I was like, oh, it's the pen coming back. That would be so smart if he was trying to get something. Like, I don't even know what the fuck was going on, and it wasn't that. Like, it wasn't even. They like set this whole thing up and then didn't.
No, that did come back. You were on your phone for the last half hour of the movie.
I knew it was gonna come back.
You missed a lot of
what
stuff.
What happened? Dear reader, to defend myself and not seem like an airheaded ditz, I did feel like this movie was way too long, and honestly, like, at the point that it was about to end, I didn't even really care how it ended because I was so done with this movie. it had very much lost my interest, and Jodie Foster's character really pissed me off.
Just like Hinckley. Although I guess it didn't piss him off. It got him really worked up, and then he ended up trying to kill Reagan. So,
oh god.
yeah,
I
no,
did not know
Jodie
what you
Foster
were
in
oh yeah.
I think she was 12. Taxi Driver. She played a child prostitute.
Fucking crazy.
She might have been 13, but I think she was 12, and Hinckley got so enamored with her that in an admittedly bold but nevertheless misguided attempt to impress her, whatever it was, 7 or 8 years later, he tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan.
I don't know why I thought that was a Beatle.
No, Ronald Reagan was not a Beatle.
No,
And
I thought that was how one of the Beatles was.
Chapman killed John Lennon because he read Catcher in the Rye.
Yes, I knew one of them had a book.
Yeah, I think they're both linked to Catcher in the Rye in some way. And
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure there's.
I think he asked John Lennon to sign it, and then outside of the Dakota, and then 5 hours. He was just staying there for 5 hours until John Lennon came back out, and then he shot him 5 times.
Did he not sign it? Is that why?
No, I think he did sign it, and then
why?
Well, he was gonna kill him anyway. It was just, I don't know. I mean,
to be fair, why kill anyone ever? But
I don't really know the details of the assassination of John Lennon beyond knowing that.
I'm gonna research that for next episode.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was that was irrelevant. But yeah, Hinckley tried to kill Reagan and did kill Brady, who was staying next to Reagan. I think that was an accident. And
sad.
Yeah, and so I don't know if it impressed Jodie Foster or not. I
I would imagine not.
I don't know if someone. I don't know if it would convince me that you are a good suitor and would make a good lover or life partner.
Passionate though, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about someone being willing to say, look, I want your attention so bad. I care about impressing you and fascinating, entertaining, loving you, whatever way that you do, that I'm going to try and kill the sitting president of the United States.
I think also it's like a very romantic gesture. Like, if you offered to kill someone for me, like the Romeo and Juliet stuff, like that was what they did, and the women are like, oh my god, you fought this man off and you killed him in my honor. It's like, that was so romantic that I understand why he would have thought that, and it definitely is like the ultimate devotion.
Defend my honor. Go shoot Barack Obama.
Stop it. Don't say that. Barack is so good.
Shoot anyone.
Okay.
Shoot Donald Trump. Shoot the president. Don't shoot the president.
Don't say that.
Nobody's going to kill anybody. But I'm just saying, if you... Listen, dear reader, if any of you become stalkers and obsessed and want to impress or want to prove a point against either of us, don't shoot us. Shoot someone else. If you want to murder someone because of something that we said, don't make that person us.
Yes.
Don't do what John Lennon's assassin did. Do what Hinckley did. Don't go Chapman's route. I'm just saying, look, if you...
Well, I think one was love and one was hate.
No, I think there was a song by John Lennon called Watching the Wheels Go Round and Round, or that was a line in it. That might not have been the name of the song, but it might have been called Merry-Go-Round. It was about a merry-go-round, and it is similar in, I guess, carousel motif to the scene at the end of Catcher in the Rye, which is Holden watching his sister on the carousel trying to get the ring, and he's just crying. Holden Caulfield's a bitch. Holden Caulfield's a baby back bitch.
I love Holden Caulfield.
Holden Caulfield is the... Do you remember?
Didn't he slap his date in the face or something?
No, I don't think so. I think what happened is because he's lonely and a loser and no one likes him, he got a prostitute, but because he's a lazy bum, he doesn't have a job, so he couldn't pay the prostitute, so the prostitute called her pimp, and the pimp slapped Holden in the face.
No, I'm not saying that didn't happen.
It did happen. I was there.
I'm not saying it did.
I saw it.
I'm saying that there was a scene, I thought that he went on a double date with, like, his girlfriend and her friend or something, or, like... I don't remember.
I don't know if he went on a double date. I think it was him and 2 people.
But it was datey. Like, it was a date. And
I don't think he hit anyone.
Maybe she slapped him on the face or something.
the prostitute's pimp slaps.
It wasn't a
Holden Caulfield in the
prostitute. It was just a girl.
It was not just a girl.
Okay, I'll look into that.
I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure that because the book's fairly short, I'm pretty sure that there are not two separate scenes of two separate characters who slap Holden Caulfield in the face.
I think so. I don't know.
I don't think that's true.
They
I know
went
for
to
a
an
fact
amusement park or something, didn't they?
that's at the end. His sister.
No.
Then I don't know.
This was in the
maybe
beginning.
towards the beginning of the book, he hires a prostitute without paying her, and thus pimp slap.
No.
Pimp slap. Yes.
I'm thinking of a different thing.
You're thinking of a different book.
Holden Caulfield, I'm trying to remember, like, I think I read it in the 6th grade.
No,
and I haven't.
no,
Yep.
no.
Yep.
You would have read this in high school. You did not read Catcher in the Rye in middle school. They would not, unless you did it independently. They would not have put this on the curriculum for 6th grade.
Okay, well, I read it in 8th grade, then whatever. And I haven't read it since then, and I remember I did like it. It was kind of dark and weird, and he was kind of a baby back bitch, you're right, but something about the story, I think I kind of liked how weird and dark it was. And I'm trying to remember, I feel like there was like a motif of like a red coat or something.
You're thinking of Schindler's List.
No.
Common mistake.
And I'm thinking of like someone holding a book, and I don't know why.
Yeah, Chapman held a book out to Lennon,
Stop.
got it signed, shot him 5 times in the chest. Or maybe the back.
Yeah, there's weird like motif, or like there was some weird bird motif in that movie, right? Or that book.
Was To Kill a Mockingbird. Do you remember... Much better book. Do you remember why it was called Catcher in the Rye? Put your ice water down, please.
No, I don't.
So Holden Caulfield, who is a baby back bitch and is an idiot and flunked out of Yale, which his rich father just paid for him to go to, and is an asshole to everyone.
How old was he?
20, 22, something like
Okay.
that. It's a pretentious douchebag. Nobody likes him. He doesn't have any friends. Prostitutes beat him up.
I liked him.
Or get their pimps to beat him up. And he has no ambition, no plan, no anything. Wants to kill himself, but it's too chicken shit to jump out the window. He wants, when people ask him what he wants to be, and they say, oh, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, he says his great ambition, he closes his eyes, and the thing he sees is a giant field of some sort of grain. It's rye. And he's standing in it. He's standing in this giant field, and it's overlooking this cliff, right? So you could just keep walking through the field of rye, and at the end of the rye, you'd walk off this cliff. And there are a bunch of kids in this field of rye playing tag or some game, and he stands at the edge of the cliff, making sure that the kids don't go over it, and he catches them and stops them from going over.
That's so cute.
That's the dumbest fucking... Can you imagine if someone said to you...
That's psychotic.
What do you want to do with your life? And you said, I want to stand in a field...
Yes.
On a cliff that I've created in my imagination that doesn't actually exist because who would send their children to play on a cliffside? And I want to catch these kids before they fall off the cliff.
It's kind of...
What is it?
It's not... What's the word? I'm trying to think of like...
Retarded.
It's like romantic, but not in a sexual way. Like it's like a fantastical kind of... Yeah, it's a romantic... I don't know what word I'm thinking of, but...
Holden Caulfield's mentally disabled.
I
Anyway.
like that thought, though. I think it's kind of poetic and beautiful that he wants to make sure that everyone's okay.
So Clive Owen...
Wait.
Yeah.
You know another thing real quick? Teeny tangent. You know what's weird? Life. You know what I mean?
Okay, so...
No, so, like, when you were saying, like, oh, if we have any stalkers out there, you know what I was thinking of the other day?
Yeah.
Like, I think I, like, had a conversation where, like, someone was harassing me online, and for a split second, my anxiety got the better of me, and I was like, what if this person, like, takes that hate that they're feeling towards me right now and that anger and, like, acts upon it and, like, takes that next step to, like, look me up and, like, find my address or, like, stalk me or hurt me or something. And I just, like, had a little bit of a snowball moment, and then I was like, oh, well, Jess, if you think about it, no one has ever done that in the past, and you've had conflicts with people in the past, right? And you've had people that, you know, gave you a red flag in the past, and no one's ever tried to kill you. And then I was like, oh, that's nice, that's good to hear. And then I was like, isn't that crazy, though, that, like, all life is just a collection of, like, moments where people maybe almost kill you, and you just, like, get away, and it's like, when is that time where that's gonna end and you are gonna get killed?
You often... I seem to confuse your life with that of James Bond, and you might be making too many enemies. Frankly, I don't know what you're doing.
No,
also, this was not a tiny tangent.
It's tiny. It's tiny.
It's
It'll
already
be
not
over
tiny.
in a sentence.
It's been it's already been 90 seconds.
Because I was thinking about it, and
a tiny tangent is, oh hey, I saw a dog yesterday.
Yeah. Well, last thing.
That's a remark.
There are people. I'll be quick. There are people too.
You're already not quick. Go ahead.
If you told me that, like, if I was going to die today, and you asked like dead me who came back. And
your ghost.
Yeah, thank you. If you ask my ghost,
what the fuck is happening?
If you said like, "Oh, Jess, this is the person that killed you," there's like 20 to 50 people. I feel like that if you said their names, I'd be like, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I could see that." Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
You have 50 people in your life who you think reasonably might end up,
or like
being the death of you.
People that just like
via murder.
Like, you know the way like, okay, yeah.
Yes.
You know the way
I'm sorry, that's what you're saying. To clarify, you're saying there are 50 people in your life who you could believe would murder you.
Or like, probably like 20, I don't know.
Somewhere between, let's call it 35. 50, let's call it 35.
Like,
you think there are 36 people who reasonably might murder you?
Listen.
It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Okay. So Clive Owen, bananas. Clive Owen and Denzel Washington. This movie... First of all, this movie was not good. It was not told well. It was not told... It
should have been shorter. And
it should have been shorter.
They should have eliminated Jodie Foster. That was so weird.
Yeah, she was not necessary. They kept doing flashbacks of interviews with the police. The Denzel Washington and Chiwetel... It was not fun because it was not... Wrong. It also... I kind of was disappointed that it, like, spoiled the end in the beginning, basically, of, like, how many hostages were killed. Yeah, it was very obvious that... It tipped its hand. It didn't mean to. Yeah. It wasn't one of those movies that said, oh, this is how this story ends, and then goes about. It wasn't like that. Yeah, it wasn't. But it might as well have been because of how poorly it was told and how obvious the entire fucking thing was.
Trying to be.
Yeah. And Denzel and Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was his partner or whatever. That was cute. They did a lot of shots where they were so fucking close together, and it was so weird. Were really close. They kept walking underneath police tape. There were 10 or 11 shots that are just Denzel Washington walking from one part for no reason. He doesn't need to be moving. There were a lot of shots of them walking. Yes, it was so dumb. From the car to They were terrible cops. They were terrible detectives. They were terrible negotiators. They were terrible... Well, again, I thought the Denzel scene where he was communicating with Clive Owen were good. No, man, he kept getting outfoxed. Anyway, that's true. Anyway, this movie... Spike Lee is often called the Black Woody Allen because Woody Allen, they both seem to think that... They're both anti-Semitic? Yeah, I mean, Woody Allen... Self-hating Jews are not very hard to come by, but Woody Allen and Denzel and Spike Lee, both based on their movies, don't seem to know that the planet goes beyond the 5 boroughs of New York City. They don't seem to know that there's anything or anybody outside of New York. Like that stupid New Yorker, wasn't it the New Yorker? Magazine cover wherein it was a drawing of the entire country and it said the center of the universe was Manhattan and the rest of whatever. Anyway, so they're often compared. Damn right. They're compared to each other, but the difference is that there are a lot of black people and brown people in New York City, but not in Woody Allen's movies. So, sorry, what you're saying Woody Allen doesn't feature any people of color? Okay. And Spike Lee features a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah, and also let's say there were 20 characters in this movie that mattered, you know, a lot of extras and what, but you know. Yeah, there were too many characters to keep track of. That A, yes, but B, let's say there were 20. Yeah. 5 or 6 of them were Hasidic Jews or Orthodox, very extremely, and it's not as though there was a family of Hasidic Jews. No, it's just this guy and this random woman and also this dude and this there were so many Jewish. I know there are a lot of Jews in New York. That's a really good point. There are not this many goddamn Jews in New York. The owner of the bank had some weird Jewish connection. It was a third of the characters were Jewish. That was weird. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. And they had like the Jewish accents and stuff like that. Like they were very, very clearly super Jewish. I did not put that together at all. And there were a lot of black people. There were a lot of Hispanic people. Yeah, there were a couple of white people that were just super Jewish. I don't have any problem with the number of white people. It's just the number of Jews was weird. And they were all super... I mean, everyone. The black people, the Hispanic people, they were all just real preposterous caricatures. Yes, that's literally the word I would use. even the main characters, even Denzel Washington, but anyway.
I don't think that was race based. It was just like police detective.
I don't know. So.
Oh yeah, and then they had that weird scene with the Sikh, the Sikh man, and literally like there was a whole thing about the turban, which I thought was good to show that, you know, he deserves respect and they were disrespecting him, and I thought it was good to call attention to that. But it just, again, it was the same thing of like the cops were just racist. They're like, we'll get it back to you, just fucking calm down. He's like, dude, this is a part of my religion, I want it right this second. And they're like, nah, we'll get it to you. It's like, but yeah, everyone, like, of course, like the one dude there, they're like, oh, you're an Arab, oh my god, and like it just was very.
It was weird. I think in a lot of Spike Lee movies, in a lot of his joints, he, as anyone will tell you, he is very focused on race and race relations. And I think he often tries to make commentaries that sometimes are well done, but oftentimes, particularly lately, they just kind of fall flat.
It was too heavy-handed for me.
Yeah, Spike Lee for the past 30 or 40 years has been a very wealthy, out-of-touch guy. I mean, he doesn't tell. His old stuff is telling stories of regular people, and now it's not. He can't do that, and he keeps trying to do that, and he keeps trying to. Anyway, Spike Lee's a baby. Whatever. Also Denzel Washington is I guess. I'd say he's the main character of this movie, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
He's not really a good guy. There are no good guys in this movie.
No, I thought he was a good. I was rooting for him.
You were not watching the last 30 minutes of this movie.
What happened that made him not a good guy? I guess spoiler alert, but yeah.
Yeah, well, don't watch this fucking movie, man. watch Phone Booth or watch.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Watch the original Ocean's 11 with Sinatra and the Rat Pack, or watch the Ocean's 11 remake with Clooney, and there's so many better. Watch The Town.
Yeah, like usually I side with the villain, as you know, and like I think with a lot of the bank robber stuff, you kind of are, especially if the bank robbers themselves are very witty and clever and they've really thought out this plan, like you often are supposed to root for them. Another Jodie Foster is Hannibal Lecter, or Silence of the Lambs. Like you want to root for the villain.
Dr. Lecter. Yeah, they're compelling. This was not the
case.
And
didn't. I didn't care about whether or not they were able to pull this off. I didn't care about whether Denzel got his. I mean, there was like a little element where people thought that he stole money, and like I wanted to see.
Right.
Him.
So
okay.
Yeah. So
fuck you.
No. So what my point was that you're just kind of rambling. My point was that he, at the end of the movie, he made a deal with these people so he would step away from the police negotiations and they would deal with it, even though it was probably not the best thing for negotiations because he wanted to be promoted. And he did a lot of backroom dealings with Jodie Foster and stuff and blackmailed her. And to get his career on a fast track, kind of. And
I remember that conversation. I just didn't remember that he blackmailed her.
Yeah. And at the very end, Clive Owen, after he came out of the bank, he slipped a very large, because they stole diamonds. Because that was, again, this movie said, it's not just, the twist is that, they're not actually stealing money, they're stealing these secrets, and maybe it's nuclear launch codes, or maybe it's a photo of his wife, or whatever. No, it just ends up being diamonds. They give you 2 or 3 different red herrings, and it just ends up being diamonds. That's the thing that's more valuable than anything on earth, is just a big diamond. Really...
And they made a whole thing about how they're like, wait a second, they didn't steal any of the money, and I didn't understand why wouldn't they have stolen any of the money? Because I would get it if it's like, they didn't steal anything at all, but like it's very clear that they stole something from the P.O. box. Like they stole something, and whether or not they're stealing diamonds and millions of dollars in cash, it wouldn't have made the robbery any better or worse. Like, why not steal the cash? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't for a stealth or a, like, we're psyching, or we're, what's the word? Like, psyching them out, and then,
it's none of it. They didn't really explain how they knew any of this stuff was where it was, or why this robbery team was put together the way it was. And they did all this.
And, like, so why they did all this. That bank.
Yeah, they did all this convoluted stuff where, they came in and they dressed all the hostages the way they were dressed, and a lot of the people who were already in the bank were in on it to begin with, but they never, in really any way whatsoever, addressed why they did it that way, or how this team came together. The entire movie was just made that way, not because there was a storyline that held it together just so that the movie would be this way. It was
Well, I think
Spike
it
Lee
was
said
so that the
Spike
rest
Lee,
of his team would be able to
no, man,
get out.
none of it. No, it was. I mean, yes, at its face value, but that was just the very. You could say that, yeah, we did it this way so it would work, but I mean, there were. It's not like you needed to do that. It's not like it's an interesting story. It's just Spike Lee said, "Oh, what if the bank robbers were right in front of your nose all along?" And then he's like, "I'm going to write a movie about that." But anyway, so
No, I disagree. I didn't have a problem with that.
So at the end, Clive Owen comes out of the bank and he slips a fairly sizable diamond into for no reason. He doesn't need to do it at all. He's already gotten away. He slips a fairly sizable diamond into Denzel Washington's pocket, and Denzel finds it and keeps it and uses it to put into a ring to propose to his girlfriend.
Oh wait, he puts it in his pocket?
Yeah, Clive Owen puts it in Denzel's pocket. It's like passing each other.
I saw that he left a diamond. Spoiler, can I do that?
Go ahead, I don't care.
I saw that he left the diamond in the P.O. box for the cops to find. But there was another diamond that he gave
There
to
was
them?
a different... yeah.
Why is he leaving so many fucking diamonds?
Because they stole a... I don't know, man.
Wait,
it's weird.
so sorry. So he gave Denzel a diamond and slipped it into his pocket so that Denzel would stop looking for him?
In theory, I guess. I don't really know. So, but yeah,
Okay.
Denzel, whatever it was, Denzel took the bait, I guess, and put it in his girlfriend, who he doesn't even really want to marry or like very much, it seems.
Yeah, the whole movie he didn't want to get married.
Yeah, he doesn't like her or her brother. But anyway, Denzel, he sees the diamond, he goes, whatever the line, "You son of a bitch." And then he keeps it. He doesn't turn it back. He's a police officer. He keeps the diamond.
Who was accused of stealing money from the cops.
Right. And it would be one thing... Again, it would still make him kind of a bad character, or at least a bad person, which might make him a compelling character. I don't know. But it would be one thing if he said, "Oh, yeah, you know, he's been, because of bureaucratic bullshit and he's blamed for stuff he doesn't do, he's been held back in his career."
Yeah.
So Clive Owen gives him this diamond and he sells it for $1 million and has the life that he should have, or that, you know,
that'd be cute.
He cracks but he puts it in a ring for his girlfriend. I mean, what is that? $5,000 is an engagement ring. This diamond was enormous. It was probably $1 million diamond or something. I don't know. But it's not like it matters. You can give your girlfriend a $4,000 ring.
Sell
it's
this
all
ring and buy her.
Right, exactly. It doesn't fucking matter. So it's so stupid. It's not.
Yikes.
He breaks to this temptation, which is barely there.
Also, it's like
he's been a police officer for 20 years, and he breaks from that so that he can put a nice diamond in his shitty girlfriend's engagement ring. What the fuck?
I'm like, yeah, why give it to her?
Right, so he's barely... The point is that he's very, very easy to tempt, and he's barely has any moral compass whatsoever. There are no good guys in this movie.
On the flip side, what I was saying about wanting to like Clive Owen, he gave this really dumb speech at the end about, like, respect is the most important thing. If you don't have respect, you don't have anything in this town.
Yeah.
Or some bullshit. And he, like, went on a rant about how everyone's a phony. And speaking of Catcher in the Rye. Yeah. And he's like, everyone's a phony and blah, blah, blah. And respect is the big thing. And I was like, you're so obnoxious. Like, I hate you. And he was so pretentious. Like, from the beginning, he was like, listen, I'm going to give you my name and I'm going to only say what I'm saying once. And it was just like, and that would be fine. If he was a genius and a cool guy and he gave this really cool speech and then backed it up, I'd be like, wow, what a fucking thug. But that's not what happened. He gave this dumb speech and then the entire time was like, barely half a step.
Barely talked.
And there were multiple times in the movie where he went, oh, fuck. Like, where he, like, Denzel caught him and he was like, this isn't part of the plan. And I was like, fuck you.
It seems like Spike Lee saw a movie wherein, you know, there was a straight-to-camera monologue like that, and he said to someone, you know, oh, I want to do that. And someone says, oh, you want to do something like that? And he went, no, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And he took scenes like that from 4 or 5 different movies and kind of cobbled them together. And then this movie.
I felt like it was just like a trope, like a bunch of tropes that didn't have a common thread tying it together.
Yeah.
Except
robbing a bank, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's all I have to say about that. Yeah, it wasn't great. The characters weren't great. The actors...
Whatever. Would you recommend this movie?
No, I again, like, I checked out of it kind of, like...
Yeah.
With 45 minutes left, I'd say, which is, you know, kind of sad. But... This was a movie that I genuinely was like, I cannot wait for it to be over, and I don't like it. It also was like 80 degrees in our house.
Yeah.
So maybe I was just like having a little bit of a heat stroke moment, but I don't think that was it. I don't think that the movie really held my attention. And again, I'd seen a movie where people rob the bank so many times that this just... It wasn't new, it wasn't interesting, it wasn't exciting, it wasn't a different take on any... Like, I would say not worth it.
Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't recommend it. There are better movies. There are other movies. Just watch a different... Bank robbery movies aren't that interesting to begin with.
Yeah. You see one and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever seen a bank robbing movie, don't watch another one.
Or even if you just understand the concept of robbing a bank.
Well, I do like it when a movie has me go like, what?
Yeah, but...
They outsmarted even me.
Yeah,
I like that, but...
Yeah. But this movie didn't do that.
No.
All right, well...
And I didn't care. I wasn't invested in how it played out, so...
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Please let this not have been deleted, my God.
I'll see. See you later, Pod Racers.
Ugh.